Hello guys, today with some Abyss Actor replays on my channel. If you have not watched my deck profile yet, I would highly recommend you to check it out because I'll be talking about the new ratios, the new cards, a little bit, what you should play, what you shouldn't play, or what I feel like you should play, or what you shouldn't play. So you might want to check that out, and if you didn't, then that's fine as well. I usually, since I've tried it a little bit, that's me playtesting the deck basically. I am not a big fan of terraforming in the deck because I feel like it gives you too much into a situation where you have the card twice in hand maybe, and you don't really need a playhouse twice in hand. And you don't really need it that much anyway, because if you don't start with an Abyss script and the playhouse, then you're kind of screwed. So it's a lot of conditions just to get like a negate or generate somewhat advantage, but doing it like so your opponent knows you would, which is always like the thing where I'm not quite sure if that's a good thing. If your opponent knows, oh yeah, if I just don't activate any monster effect till I get rid of that card, then it doesn't matter, and that's then where I'm like, is that really as good as it sounds like it is? Well, let's just start off. I have to sadly go first because I lost dice roll, rock, paper, scissors kind of thing, whatever it is here. Going into Electromite because I gladly start with Curtain Raiser, getting the effect off. He doesn't have any hand traps, so I'm playing through that quite easily. Setting my Wildstar because I can easily, Superstar because I can easily destroy him, because I know I can Pendulum Summon him back if anything fails. I would have already had a high scale, but I wasn't quite sure if I wanted that one. So when I get a surge off, I wanted to search my Wild Hope because I like being able to, oh, if he clears up my scales or whatever, then getting a surge off. And if he doesn't clear them and my Electromite for whatever reason would still be live, then I could still pop the card and get even more advantage out. But since that did not happen, what can you say? I summoned one Sassy in defense position. It's a good staller since I'm going first. It's the option that I have. Get one superstar, set opening ceremony, and activate the effect, because it's always good to get them into the graveyard. If you get Abyss team, and you can basically have like access to all of them then for distributing one monster, which I like. Plus getting life points back that I paid for Mela Madonna was like, I don't know what deck I was playing against, and if it's an OTKV deck, since they wanted to go second, I was like, I'll generate some life points back. That might be kind of helpful at that point. Since you can't keep them over the end phase and it destroys itself, you wouldn't be able to have it set for the playhouse, which at the moment is total uses the card. I have a total uses card twice in my hand. That's what I mean. It's very specific when the card actually is useful. I feel like sometimes that is not needed. I'm playing against Cyber Dragons. They pop off a little bit at the start. I feel like they could have probably popped off a little bit more, but I think the combo with core and machine duplication already makes you pop off a little bit. I think he could have gone for Sieger first, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know why he didn't. I don't really know Cyber Dragons too much, but he got the revive system, and he's got an Ash Blossom for the next turn. He's pretty set, let's say. Like, he's doing quite well. He steals my monster, which I'm okay with. He that did not choose to negate the effect. I don't know, I think he could have, but I don't know why he didn't. Like that, I get free resources, that's all good. My Wildstar gets destroyed, and my Wild Hope survives, which is probably the smarter play for him at that point, because otherwise I would have gotten a surge, which obviously you don't want to give your opponent just for free. Got a draw into Solemn Strike, which is kind of a problem, because if you have players on the field and a trap, then you will be getting your trap destroyed if you activate the monster effect first. So and otherwise, but if you activate Solemn, then you can't activate the playhouse anymore. So you always have to make sure what you actually do. Do you want to get rid of life points but destroy the monster? Do you not? And that is the kind of stuff that you then have to think about. That's why I don't run that many traps usually, and that's why I don't run terraforming anymore. So the traps and the players don't really work against each other that much. My plays this game is I tried to search with Madonna. He has an Ash Blossom, which he drew. Obviously, I had no idea because in the first one he didn't use it. He is negating my Wild Hope's Pendulum Zone effect. I mean, I don't really know if that was necessary because now I get the surge off. He thought maybe if he negates my high scale, then I can't Pendulum Summon. Fair enough, I assume. But that was basically at that point. I get another Wildstar because why not? Wildstar is always useful. Then I Pendulum Summon with Sassy and Wildstar out because I like having Sassy because it's somewhat of a protection against OTK decks as well. If it's an attack position, questionable, but in general, I'm not being able to destroy by battle card effect once per turn and then float if you get destroyed by battle is kind of neat. So it can actually help me quite a lot. I set my Abyss script as the Abyss King with my Superstar because, well, getting rid of all his monsters basically is pretty neat in that point as well. So I will do that since this negate is already out, but I think you can respond to it anyway, so that wouldn't have mattered that much, but it was important for the Superstar surge. I actually wipe his field quite a lot. He obviously has follow-up plays. Here my spell comes into play. I negate his effect, but that's the problem. That effect was probably not really worth negating, but now my Solemn Strike's gone, and that's usually what we don't want. So that's always like a little bit of a tricky situation. So you have to make sure, do I play traps? Do I focus more on the playhouse? And I feel like some traps are more important than running like 5 copies of the playhouse with double terraforming. That's why I do it. He goes into the Parasite Droid. He doesn't go for Panzer Diagonal with Parasite Droid. That's interesting. I guess that's just a question of style at that point. He goes into his second Cyber Dragon Infinity, steals my Superstar, which is pretty good. He is negating the effect this time, because this time he didn't want me to do it, which is important, I guess, because generating resources for free would be kind of annoying. Still don't get why he's not going to a Sieger. I thought he did have enough resources again. I don't know, to be fair, but I thought it was a link too. I search my Villa Madonna just in case, because getting her off with effects as well is pretty easy. Plus, if you have an Abyss script, then you actually can summon another monster from your deck, which is pretty strong at that point. Me setting my Abyss script, so it works together with my playhouse and actually could generate advantage there. Searching, he negates it, which pops my Abyss script because of the playhouse, and now I actually do get draws off, which generates so much advantage that, yeah, he's done for at that point. I get even to special out another Sassy Rookie because effect of an Abyss script activated, if I'm not mistaken, and then from there on he just scoops, because that is game for me. See, that's the thing with the players. If your opponent don't read the effect, then that's pretty good, and you can like disable some of their cards. But also, if they do read it, then they would never give you that much of an advantage. And most Abyss scripts, if they're set, are not any danger for you anyway. And just giving up one of your negates so you don't lose the game is a fair trade for your opponent, I feel. Being able to dismantle monster negates sometimes is kind of nice, but also doesn't really matter too much. But what I like about the playhouse is that it doesn't activate, so that is pretty good. I will put another replay at the end, playing against Autogeist. We'll comment that too, and that would be it for it then. So see you in the next replay. Here we are back in the second duel. This time again Drew Terraforming, which gives me the field spell at that point, which can be quite neat against Autogeists too. But in the end, I really don't think it's making much of a difference if you play Terraforming or not. I actually felt like the deck was smoother without Terraforming. But that is up to whoever wants to. It's a good bait for Ash Blossom at that point. Like, it is a neat bait to actually get the Ash Blossom out and being able to search with Mela Madonna. That being said, how often does that happen? He is popping both of my scales, which I then pop his card, because that's what I was talking about in my deck profile. Matches against Autogeist, Sassy Rookie comes in handy sometimes because he can pop low-level monsters on the field, which is usually not a thing, because either they would be linked away or just not even played in the deck, talking about like Blue Eyes and stuff. Nobody would leave the level 1 tuner sitting out anyway. But against Autogeist, where the whole deck is basically low-level monsters, which would be on the field, you actually can pop quite some things. That's why his the Heavy Dust Storm actually didn't hurt me too much, because I can pop one of his cards and generate advantage, which then did not hurt me too much. That's what I like about Wild Hope, because even if he gets popped, he instantly replaces itself if it's not by like a Cosmic Cycle or whatever. So I actually like that effect, because Twin Twister and the Dust Storm they're kind of useless then against it, because you basically both players just lose one card if he doesn't negate the search then. Getting one Melmadonna off because he already uses Ash Blossom. And here it's where it starts to get Abyss Actory. I get the combo with double Comic Relief, which I really like, because you can actually do some shenanigans. I have the Abyss script set, so that is pretty good as well. I try to go for the swoop, but he doesn't want me to, so he is just actually sending my cards back to my hand, because obviously he doesn't want me to pop my own Abyss script at that point, which is fair enough, I guess. I'm playing all the monsters that I can, go for some damage, because I know he already used the main effects, because I played around it. Like, the Silquitous is good in general against like decks that focus a lot on monsters that are quite important, but I feel like Abyss Actor is no monster. That sounds so bad, but no monster is really important, so it doesn't matter what card you really lose, because no card by itself is that important that if you can't get it off, it ruins your game, which is kind of a neat fact about a deck, but also just says like they work together. They're like actors. Some of them are more important, some of them are less important, but it's the cast that makes the play. And that being said, I get myself some life points. Being able to stall a little bit longer is always helpful. He has a triple Multifaker, which since it's once per turn, can't really use the effect too much. Gets his trap card back to his hand, he can just sit it next turn, links the card away. He destroys, weirdly enough, my Wild Hope, opens up my extra monster zone for me, and leaves Comic Relief on the field, so I could swap out next time. I was not sure if that was the best play. I searched my Evil Heal at that point. Not quite sure why I even did that at that point, but it was okay. I guess I don't get damage from Abyss Actor Comic Relief battle, so he thought bringing in some damage would be needed at that point. I don't know. We'll see, but he destroys with that one. I want to swap it out, but he actually negates the effect, which is, I don't know, questionable maybe. Sadly, the effect of my Comic Relief activates, but I, for that one, had to pop my Abyss Script, because otherwise it wouldn't have worked. If I didn't use my Abyss Script, then he would have just destroyed the card, and I couldn't have generated advantage at that point. So I want to give him back to my hand, so I could swap it out next time, and maybe get like a card like Wild Hope or whatever back onto the field to generate some advantage at that point with him destroying my monster. But like I sadly have to forfeit my monster to my opponent, which that's always a little bit tricky, because it's a very good effect, but only if you have an Abyss Script. And since I didn't, that was, not what you actually want. But being able to special summon out cards now is kind of neat. I want to go for the swap, which I think is kind of needed at that point, because he's got negates and stuff, and I don't want him to have that strong of a monster. So he's trying to negate that one, which is fair enough. But that still didn't go through. Well, what can you say? That's just how things work. I'm just getting my Wild Hope at that point, boosting his attack points, getting my monster back to the extra deck, setting up the Rise of the Abyss King, make sure that he doesn't have the other stuff on the field anymore, because if he doesn't have anything in hand and not having protocol, then that's pretty much it. I targeted my cards well, but it didn't really matter at that point. He's going for duality. Whatever he draws will not really help him. He decides to go for personal spoofing, even though he does not have any monsters in hand, and that is game at that point, because he can't recover from that. And I feel like that's what shows how Abyss Actors actually can play through negates a lot, because none of the resources matter too much. Sure, 3 negates would probably screw you up, Naturia Beast screws you up, even though you have plays around that, which I talk about in the deck profile as well. But all in all, they're pretty versatile from themselves. Their plays are pretty linear. It's more like a beatdown heavy deck, using your monster effect, generating a little bit of advantage, and so on. But in the end, I actually love how they play these days, and how being negated once is not killing you like most rogue contenders, for example, or like decks that are just not good enough to be meta, because you have no one card combos. That's basically it. If your meta deck, if you have 1 or 2 card combos, if you have more than that, then a negate will screw you up too much to recover from it, which I think Abyss Actors are not anymore, at least. That being said, I hope you enjoyed my video. I hope you liked the replays. Check out my deck profile, check out my channel. There will be more videos about budget decks coming up, more Abyss Actor shenanigans probably, since it's one of my favorite decks of all time, and I hope you have a good day.